Hello, my name is Jenny Stewart, and I'm the Vice President of Consulting at Construx Software. Today I wanted to talk to you about staffing Scrum's product owner role. Scrum has three major roles in it: the development team, the folks who actually roll up their sleeves and actually do the work. There's the Scrum Master, who's the keeper of the process, the servant mentor who makes sure that we are both adhering to the process but also learning and growing, becoming more effective as a team. And the product owner. The product owner is really the person who makes sure that we're building the right product. And in my experience, the product owner is the key role in Scrum to staff. It is the most important role. It's also the hardest role to get the right person in. If you get the wrong person in it, you may build a product that isn't really what your organization needs and wants, or they don't actually have the information where they can answer the team's questions quickly and readily, which is the purpose and point of a product owner. So I wanted to start by giving you a few tips about what a good product owner looks like and what a bad product owner looks like. So a good product owner really understands the organization that's building the product. They understand the marketplace. They have a vision for how that product is actually going to grow the marketplace or grow revenue or grow the number of people that are using the product. So they have a good understanding of the product and the market it's going into. They're able to work with different stakeholders, sponsors, users, customers to both define and understand the requirements, but also prioritize them amongst a great number potentially of stakeholders. In some organizations that I've worked with, there can be half a dozen to a dozen different people who have different needs and wants out of a product, and the product owner is the person who understands all of those and also make sure that they know the business priorities so that they can prioritize those across the different user needs. Not everybody's going to get everything they want when they want it. They need to be able to understand the business priorities enough to make sure we're focusing on the right set of requirements in each and every product release. They're really concerned about what we're building. They leave to the development team the details about how it's being built. I worked with one product owner who was the product owner and the architect. Oh, and by the way, he was also the director of development over people. So that was a pretty severe conflict of interest. They were really interested in what the team was building, but also very much wanted to tell the team the detailed technical practices and approach and the coding structures and all of that. So they were very concerned about the what and the how, which made that pretty problematic. A good product owner is also consistently available to the team. So product owners need to be in sprint planning sessions. They need to be in sprint reviews. They should be a participant in the sprint retrospective. They're able to answer the team's questions within maybe moments or at least hours. They can answer it same day turnaround at the very, very minimum. I'll often have a lot of people talk to me about, well, isn't a product manager the right person to be a product owner? Maybe, if they have the bandwidth and availability for it, but in a lot of cases, they don't have the time. If we look at the third bullet under an ineffective product owner, they're often rarely available to the team due to other obligations such as travel and having marketplace analysis and customer visits they need to do. So while they're a major stakeholder for the team, they're not a great product owner. Other things that I see not work well with product owners is when a product owner also tries to be a Scrum Master. Those two roles are meant to balance each other and counterbalance each other. So being a product owner, I'm going to tell the team what I want to do, but being a Scrum Master, I'm going to care a lot about, are we following both the rules of Scrum, the ceremonies, but the spirit of Scrum as well. And so when a product owner is a Scrum Master, you'll often see weird things in sprint planning like, here are the stories I want you to build in the next sprint, and oh, by the way, you're going to build 15 of them. Well, that has no longer kept us to the balance of the product owner having the product backlog saying, here's what I want you to build, and the team looking at it and saying, based on our velocity data that we have, so we know how much we can produce, Here's what we commit to actually building for you. So a few criteria. Product owners need to be easily accessible by the team and preferably co-located. So if I've seen groups, Scrum teams working effectively when the product owner isn't co-located, yes. Would I prefer that they are co-located? Absolutely. The quicker the communication, the better the team works. But it's not uncommon to have a product owner who's in another geography, and then it's really about setting working agreements so that the team and the product owner know when will the product owner be available to the team, what kind of turnaround time can we expect, what's your availability look like, and we're probably making a lot more use of things like email, chat, video conference, teleconference, all of that. But they must be easily accessible. I need to know my product owner is always available between, say, 7:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. every single day to answer questions for us. So maybe they don't sit next to me, but they are easily available and I know when I can talk to them. They need to be actively involved throughout the sprints. So occasionally you'll see a product owner who only shows up for the sprint review. Well, by the book, you can certainly have a product owner who does that, but that really defeats the spirit of close communication between the Scrum team. So the product owners should be actively and ongoingly involved throughout the sprint to clarify requirements, to look at what the team has actually completed. So a product owner should be able to look at things like it's day 3 of a 2-week sprint and the team's completed a couple user stories. Is that what the product owner expected? And give the team feedback right then. A major role for a product owner is to keep the product backlog ready and available. I don't know how many organizations I go into where sprint planning just isn't as smooth and effective as it could be. One of the worst things I've seen is a group I worked with, and I came in and I said, so you guys have 2-week sprints? And they said, yes. And I said, oh, tell me about sprint planning. I said, well, after 2 days of sprint planning, we start our sprint. And I said, what? Sprint planning should last for a half a day when you've got a 2-week sprint, not 2 days. Well, sure enough, sprint planning was the first time the team had ever seen the new items that were in the product backlog. And in fact, in one organization I worked in, it wasn't even a product backlog the team saw. The sprint planning would be the first time they saw a PowerPoint that described the stories, and they'd never ever seen them before. So product owners need to be keeping the product backlog ready to work for the development team. And the key to success there is ongoing refining meetings, sometimes called pre-planning meetings, in which the product owner, the development team, and the Scrum Master take a look at the product backlog and make sure the items at the top are ready to work for the team. They've been estimated, they're understood, maybe they've been decomposed and re-estimated, they have acceptance criteria with them. So that's a major role for a product owner, and they need to make sure that they're fulfilling that. So a question I always get asked is, in our organization, who should be the product owner? And you will need to map your current roles into the Scrum roles. Generally, people use the Scrum roles as hats. They still keep their traditional title and role when they're first transitioning to Scrum. One of the key things you should not do is to make blanket statements. I have seen organizations who say things like, we're moving to Scrum, so every project manager is now a Scrum Master. Well, is that going to work for you? Probably not. Some of those project managers who are more collaborative project managers are probably going to be great. Some of them, maybe more authoritative command and control, are not going to like the role of a Scrum Master. And the same thing's true of a product owner. You simply should not go in and blanket statement and say, all product managers will now be product owners. All business analysts will now be product owners. It's better to look at the individual team and the project they're working on, or the product they're building, or the release they're working on, and saying, who is the best fit given what this team is doing and what they're bringing to market. So a product manager can be a great product owner if they have time and availability. In many organizations, they simply don't, and so they aren't a good fit to be a product owner. I've seen some organizations who actually grow the product management organization to have people who are more strategic product managers, who still focus more on road mapping and marketing and customer analysis, long-term planning, and then other people who take on the product owner role and become very engaged with the team and take the big picture functionality, features, or epics and drive those to completion as a product owner. And so in those types of organizations, it works great. In many organizations, it simply does not. In some organizations, business analysts become great product owners. They often understand the product a lot. They understand the user's needs. They are used to capturing requirements and sharing those in with the team. So they're a great fit if they are empowered to have decision-making authority, which in some organizations they're not, and they can't be, so they're not a great product owner. In some organizations, part of the transition is to empower them so they can step up to be a product owner. So if you have business analysts in your organization, perhaps they'll become a product owner. The other role that they can play is to be a member of the development team and support the product owner. So work with the product owner to keep that product backlog in good working order to make sure that it's ready for the team on a regular basis. So they are more supportive than actually fulfilling the product owner role. Engineering managers can become product owners. You do not want a product owner who actually has direct line management responsibility for the development team underneath them, because that tends to be a major conflict of interest. That director of development that I was talking about, who was also the product owner, who was also the architect, was just not a good fit for the product owner role. There was too much authority in one person to basically be telling the team what to do and how to do it all of the time. So engineering managers I've seen work well with technical teams, or technical leads also I've seen become good fits for deeply technical teams or component teams, because they understand that the customer of what they're building is another internal team rather than an end user. So I hope this gives you a little more insight onto what it takes to be a good product owner, the role of a product owner, and how you can potentially map some of your current organizational roles into the Scrum product owner role.